Right. Good morning to everyone. Uh, it's a lovely sunny morning here. I don't know if it is where you are, Sally, is it?
It's beautiful here, absolutely lovely.
Yep, we're very, very lucky to have such great weather during this time, aren't we? So today it's part of a three-call series with the lovely Sally Varley. Now, Sally is an acupuncturist and a women's health coach. Her passion is helping women to balance their hormones and to naturally enhance their fertility and navigate their way through the menopause with ease. I wish I'd met you a couple of years ago, Sally. She works both online and face to face, obviously, when not in lockdown, and has been in a private practice for 9 years. She's trained in Canada. Whereabouts in Canada was that?
I was in a little tiny town in the mountains called Nelson in British Columbia.
Oh,
It was
I
about
love.
8 hours east of Vancouver.
Oh, I was going to say, I love Vancouver. I've done the Rockies. Love it. It's a
Yeah,
great part of
gorgeous.
the world. So,
Yeah,
so you trained in Canada, and then you've practiced in the UK, and currently you live near Loughborough in Leicestershire.
yeah.
So Sally also has a very cute and very cheeky 5-year-old son who sometimes assists with the acupuncture demonstrations. Don't know if he's going to be on today.
He's not. He's with his dad today, so
Okay.
he's not taking part.
So week one, this is all about the stress and the menopause. So obviously, this isn't necessarily linked to men, or I think men sometimes can go through menopause, but this is week one, stress and menopause. Then week two, we're going to be talking about gut health and the menopause. And the third week, we're going to come on to dealing with sleep problems, which I absolutely know about, hot flushes and night sweats. But to get us started today with stress and the menopause, the first question I've got for you, Sally, is how does stress affect us and our hormones?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me today, and I hope I'm going to share some interesting information for everybody. Uh, First off, stress is probably the biggest thing that affects our it affects our whole life, all of our well-being. And what the people watching may or may not know is that one of the ways that acupuncture and Chinese medicine works is to bring our body into harmony by bringing us into the rest and digest state. So that's when our nervous system is calm and we're not in the fight or flight response. Have you heard of those terms before? Yeah. So what happens is that when we're under chronic stress, and obviously at the moment we're under a lot of stress because of everything that's going on, but in our daily lives we have stress through things like just chronic kind of overworking, or it may not be something really big. It could just be things like regularly having arguments at home, or just having a stressful commute to work or something. It might be that you go to a job that you really love, but you have to drive for an hour or more to get there. Obviously nobody's doing that really at the moment, but over time what happens is that when we're under stress, our brain, the hormonal endocrine glands in the brain, stimulate the adrenal glands, which are two little glands that sit on top of your kidneys, to release cortisol. And that puts us in this fight or flight response. And so when we're in that kind of state, our body can't really carry out all of its other processes that it needs to digest our food, keep our immune system healthy. We can't sleep that easily. Having too much cortisol cruising around is something that causes us to store fat on our tummies. Mm-hmm. So that's one big reason that we definitely don't want that to be happening. And chronic stress can actually affect the size of your brain and its structure and its functioning, because what it does is that it shrinks that prefrontal cortex, and that is the part of the brain that's responsible for concentration, decision making, memory, and social interaction. So you can see how if we're in that high cortisol state a lot of the time, we're just very impaired in terms of being able to function normally. Mm-hmm. And then we get in this kind of catch-22, because if you feel like that, then you become more stressed, and then the more cortisol's released. So it's really important that we work to keep our stress levels down. And the best ways that you can do that is getting plenty of exercise. I know you told me just before we went live that you've been for a run this morning. So I really encourage everybody, especially during lockdown, to, you know, get out for that exercise every day that you're allowed to do, because that's going to release all those feel good endorphins and serotonin and things that make you feel calm and relaxed. Also things like meditation is very helpful. I find I don't particularly like meditating as in just sitting in a room, you know, quietly doing it, but I do love getting out in my garden, and that for me that's like meditation, because my mind completely drifts off, and I'm just there in the moment, enjoying the nature and the fresh air and everything. So find something that you like that relaxes you, whether it's listening to some nice music or doing actual meditation or some yoga or just going out for a nice walk. And then we'll touch next time on next week's call about more to do with gut health and diet and nutrition. But obviously good nutrition is very important. You want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep, which is something that lots of people struggle with. And again, you can get into this kind of catch-22, and we're going to talk more about that in the third week. And then something that's incredibly important, which is really my top tip for everybody, no matter what is going on, is to be well hydrated. Because most people are actually chronically dehydrated, and the first sign of dehydration is actually tiredness, not thirst. So again, if you're feeling tired, you're more likely to reach for unhealthy foods, sugary snacks, stuff like that gives you this kind of blood sugar rush and then makes you crash. And then we're back into the whole stress picture again.
What about brain fog and difficulty concentrating? Is that affected by the stress?
So like I said, obviously the brain changes structure and shape and size, and that bit that is to do with concentrating well and making good decisions and things is very affected by stress. During menopause, it's also to do with estrogen levels, which are falling. So the role of estrogen is to partly sort of control and regulate the messenger system of the hormones, which, you know, literally often women kind of say, I hate my hormones, but we die without them. I mean, they are responsible for every single thing, the process that happens in our body. So we need them. But as estrogen's falling, it's because part of its role is to promote the function of neurons, you know, those neural pathways. So that starts to sort of deteriorate a bit. So that is one of the reasons that we can get brain fog. Now, I have heard that brain fog does lift after menopause. So it's a message of hope for anybody watching who's in the thick of kind of feeling very foggy and like they fuzzy headed, then, you know, it doesn't last forever. And so I think that's really heartening to know, isn't it? One of the other things that estrogen does is it acts as an antioxidant. So, you know, basically through the process of being alive, when anything is exposed to air, including us through breathing, all of our cells are suffering oxidation every single day. So that's like the process when you cut a piece of fruit in half, and if you leave it in the open air, it turns brown. That's oxidation. It's literally like it's rusting almost in fruit form. And this is happening in every cell in our body every single day. So if there's too many oxidants, then the cells die. And again, things don't function as well as they should. So one way to battle brain fog is to make sure you get plenty of antioxidants into your diet and into your system. So some good foods and things to have that battle brain fog are things like oily fish, soy products, and lots of really, really healthy fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I don't eat meat, or don't have soy either, but like you say, fruits and veggies are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of supplementing, because I know that even if you eat a really healthy diet, it's very difficult to get all the vitamins and minerals that we need. So particularly people who are vegetarian and vegan are likely to be lacking in B vitamins because they are in meat, fish and eggs. So it's a good idea to perhaps take a supplement.
I do. I take a B vitamin supplement and also an omega, a vegan omega supplement.
Yeah, so that's great. So hopefully you should be covered then for anything that you're missing in your normal diet.
So what about anxiety and mood? How is that affect, or how does stress affect that in terms of the menopause? That's my last question for you, and then we'll come on to the acupuncture points.
Yeah, so well, I think one of the things that lots of people don't know is that anxiety can be caused sometimes by fluctuating blood sugar levels. So again, like I was saying earlier, sometimes when we're stressed, then we don't sleep well. Our decision making's not what it should be, and it's much easier just to reach for that sugary biscuit. And I mean, let's face it, when we're stressed, nobody eats as well as they should do. I know I've certainly been having more biscuits and stuff, I mean, I work from home anyway, so this whole lockdown period shouldn't really be so different for me, but I have noticed a change to
hot cross buns.
Yeah, it's just this sort of, I think it's an emotional thing as well, isn't it, that we're just dealing with all this uncertainty at the moment, and it's probably causing some people to emotionally overeat. And I think
a comfort thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also because this is not a permission to go out and stuff your face with chocolate, but basically one very important mineral that lots of people are deficient in is magnesium. And magnesium is a relaxant, and it's found in chocolate. So sometimes we end up craving things that contain the thing that we're missing without really knowing quite why we want it. I mean, obviously with sugary things, they do spike our dopamine levels, and serotonin, so we feel good temporarily when we've just had it.
So there's no guilt in having the Easter eggs this weekend, then, is there, Sally?
No, none at all. I think that's perfectly allowed, and then get back on the healthy horse straight afterwards.
I've got a question for you, actually. So I often crave things like almond butter, so I guess it's the fatty type things. What does that mean?
Well, so nuts obviously have got healthy oils in them, and magnesium. So it could be still that you're low in those things. I mean, I have heard that they say there's something like 70% less magnesium in the soil than there was in our grandparents' generation.
Right.
So that means it's just not getting into the food chain.
Yeah.
So it's not there. And magnesium, do you ever get that little, like, a twitch in your eye?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so that's magnesium deficiency. Muscle cramps, tension, insomnia, constipation, feeling very sensitive, all of those things. I mean, there's actually hundreds of things that can be attributed to magnesium deficiency. But mostly if people get restless leg syndrome or leg cramps and stuff like that, particularly at night, then you want to up your magnesium intake. And again, it's something that's further depleted by stress. So we've all got to, up our levels at the moment.
Great, that's good news.
Yeah.
Come into the Easter weekend if you've managed to get any Easter eggs.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I've really loved I've taken a lot from that personally myself. Do you want to come on to the acupuncture points now? Because I'm really interested in these.
Yes. So I'm going to show you 2 acupressure points today, which are both, one's on the wrist and one's on the palm of the hand. So they're super easy to do. I mean, you can even do them when without anybody even noticing. And the first one I'm going to show you is it's called Lesser Palace, and it's on the heart channel. So in Chinese medicine, all of the organs have a channel or a meridian associated with them, and this is where the acupoints are located. So when I do a consultation, we ask tons of questions, and people sometimes think, what on earth that got to do, why are you asking me about my sleep or my emotions, because I've come to you with a sore knee. But because everything's connected, it's very important to know, and our emotions can affect our physical well-being and vice versa. So the heart channel is to do kind of with your spirit and your emotions and your sense of calmness and feeling okay and grounded. And if it was a person, it would be like the king that has to kind of reign over his kingdom. So he needs to be calm. The heart channel's got to be balanced in order for him to make good judgments. And this point, you basically find it, if you make a fist, it's where your little finger rests in your palm.
Okay.
So can you feel that point? And you can basically, you can do little circular motions like this, or you can just kind of push in and out like that. Sometimes when I talk about acupressure points, people will message me going, mine feels really tender, is that normal? It is completely normal. Sometimes they feel very sensitive if that channel is out of balance.
Okay.
So I want to be clear that I'm not talking, if you feel like this point's tender and it's on the heart channel, don't think, oh my god, there's a problem with my heart. That's not what it means. It just means the kind of energy of that system is a bit out of whack.
And that's which hand you do it on?
No, you can do it on both hands, either hand. And this point is amazing for, like, if you've been a bit kind of beaten down by grief, or been quite angry or scattered, feeling a bit scattered because you've been a bit fearful, which I think are all emotions that we've all been feeling lately, then this is a really brilliant point for just kind of revitalizing the mind and spirit. What I think is interesting about it is that, they talk about people wringing their hands when they're anxious. So it's actually something that people probably do without even realizing, is that they rub that point and it calms the mind. Yeah. So that's a really brilliant one, and it's very good if you've been having vivid dreams or feeling mentally restless, which again I think probably a lot of people are, because we're all a bit cooped up, aren't we, and not sure what's coming next.
How long do you do that for then?
Well, I think just kind of, a couple minutes either side, and then something that you could do just whenever you think of it, or when you wake up in the morning, and maybe at lunchtime, and maybe again in the evening. And like I said, I think it's quite nice because it's on the hand. It's so you can just do it while you're watching telly or you're on the phone or whatever. And then the second one is called Great Abyss, and it's on the lung channel. So this one is kind of on the front of the wrist, on the thumb side, where your palm meets the arm. So you see the wrist crease. So it's just there, kind of on the, can you feel that point? Yeah, exactly. So again, you just want to kind of rub that with little circular motions, or press that one. And in Chinese medicine, the emotion of the lung channel is sadness and grief. So it's important that we keep our lung channel in balance at the moment if we can, because if it's feeling a bit depleted and vulnerable, then we're trying, all of us, to keep away from this horrible virus that's going around, and we don't want our lung and respiratory channel to be vulnerable at the moment. So this is a good one. And it also I think, you know, we've had a lot of disappointments lately. Everybody's had plans that have been cancelled, things they're not going to get to do, people they can't see. And so it's been quite a hard time. And I think this is a brilliant point for helping us integrate those experiences and just let them go.
Yeah.
Just kind of not dwell on what we've lost, but think about what we have got to look forward to, because there are things to look forward to and there are still positives. We're in the positive vibes community, so there are lots of things that are good that will come. And so yeah, this point is also good for tiredness, palpitations, poor circulation, which is probably something that might be worse in some people at the moment because we're sitting down more. And yeah, just eases a feeling of instability and chaos. So
wow, perfect. So I'm going to use those today, definitely for me anyway.
Yeah, let me know how it goes.
Yeah, so you've got another two acupressure, is that what you call them?
Acupressure, yeah. They're called acupoints when we needle them, but
okay,
yeah,
right, yes.
So for anybody that wondered, I don't needle my 5-year-old son. I just do acupressure on him. Yeah, so the pressure is just pressing them.
Great. So you've got another two of those next week and the week after, and then we'll do extra call series as well. So you're so knowledgeable, Sally. I'm so grateful you've come in and shared all of your knowledge with everybody. I'm sure everyone's taken a lot from it. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and yeah, so I look forward to next week. Thank you so much for doing today, and we'll see you in the group next week. And Sally does have a really great Facebook group for people that suffer with menopause. It's called Naturally Managed Menopause.
Yeah,
and she's got a great Facebook page as well for her acupuncture. So thank you so much, Sally. Have a great day. Get your exercise done now that this is over.
Yeah, I'm off. Gonna head out for a walk now and get my walk.
Really lovely to see you.